Hello and welcome to another episode of Hashtag Agency Life. This is Lee, and on today's show we have Vivienne Neale. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you very much, and thank you very much for asking me to appear on your show. How exciting.
Thank you for being on the show. It was Courtney that was chatting to you, and it's been great to get people very, very different agencies on, because quite often we'll get a lot of people that operate in the exact same way, and we've really been trying to find people like yourself, and I'm not going to, no spoilers yet because we want to find out, but the way you guys work is absolutely fascinating, so I'm really, really excited to be talking to. Thanks for coming on. Let's dive into the first question then, and can you tell us the name of your agency and what it is you guys do?
Well, it's all terribly ego-centered. It's called VKN Digital Ltd.
Right.
And VKN are my initials. But we've tried very hard to get away from the Vivienne Neale and try very much for it to be VKN, so it doesn't have to be me. But if you really want the truth, that's it. And what we do is a variety of things. We realise that actually when people find a solution, they really want you to supply everything. Yeah. So I had so many conversations where they might say, I need some copy, fantastic. And I need someone that I was thinking about doing a PPC campaign, but do you know anybody? Yes, we do. And then actually my website needs a bit of attention. So in the end, we built up enough skills. So we deal with everything from videography to lead generation, to content, to design, to graphic design, to coding, you name it, basically. And we felt that was the way, because most people are quite afraid. And, the internet is a big wide world. And when you actually meet somebody that you like, you really want them to help you. So we try and help as far as we can.
That's awesome. I was trying to think of something really funny because you said you name it and I literally went blank. So I've let myself down.
Have that effect on people. Sorry about that.
I've let the podcast down. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I have no funnies, no dad jokes. Okay, so if we were going to have a birthday party for your agency, for VKN, of which you are clearly one of the stars, and that's awesome. How old is your agency, and when approximately is your yearly birthday party?
Well, our birthday party will be in January.
Nice.
And we'll be 2. So we will smother ourselves in cake and probably have a tantrum and bang our hands and feet on the floor and go purple in the face. That's the plan.
Wow. That sounds intense. Any Prosecco involved?
Yes, probably. And that will probably cause most of this behaviour.
More than likely. Absolutely. All right, well, let's unpack your setup then. How many people do you have in your overall group or collective?
About 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I say about because somebody is a bit of an approximation, but yes, but let's say 10.
Somebody's an approximation. It's like the 2.4 children, isn't it?
Yes,
you mean you've got half a person somewhere?
Yeah.
That'd be actually terrible if they were really half a person. I apologise.
Well, actually, I think it's more of a few hours kind of a person.
Okay, that's all right then. Yeah. That's okay. And do you guys have an office that you will go to, a co-working space?
Yeah, we do. We have a very beautiful suite of offices, and there are 4 of them.
Okay.
And we actually rent those out to others as well if they need them. So there's always co-working spaces available.
Brilliant.
And it's also going to be the site of the Northern Creative Arts community that is just being worked on at the moment. We're in the middle of preparing a book, which we will launch and then start running courses.
Yeah.
Everything from kind of digital marketing to creative, kind of reinvent yourself and earn your living through your creativity types of courses.
That is so freaking cool. We need to keep talking about that, don't we? And as in, when it all starts happening, let me know and let's get you back on the show to talk about that.
That would be fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yes, promote it as much as we can. Anything like that I think is phenomenal.
Actually, we're looking for people to write case studies at the moment. People who have decided they want to earn their living by their creativity and have just stepped off the ledge and gone for it. So anyone who's got a story to tell, we'd be really interested to hear from them.
Well, on that then, we know we have a lot of listeners that are literally at that stage. So how can they get in touch with you for that?
Well, they can email me directly. So I'll give you this email, info@viviennekneale.com. So that's VIVIENNE, K for Kate, Neale, NEALE.
Brilliant. And if I remember, we'll make sure we get that one in the show notes as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome. That's really exciting. Brilliant. Okay, but I will calm down and let's get on with these questions.
Yeah.
I'm very bad. I keep going off on a tangent, which is why I have these questions.
That's the best way.
Well, I'm getting you on for a full episode because I think we can probably fill a good hour nattering. I know it. But anyway, for this one, your team culture. So you've got the shared office space, which is awesome. There's the 10 or a bit of you. I'm joking. There's the 10 of you. What's your team culture?
Our team culture, we're stress heads, really. Is our culture. Yeah, we tend to kind of sit around and play it really cool, and then somebody says, "You do realise this is supposed to have been done by," and everyone just kind of jumps up and goes for it. So that's the kind of thing that I suppose, we don't enjoy it. We just seem to function better under extreme pressure. Yeah. So that really is our culture. But I suppose on the positive side, we like to see ourselves as being a bit, I don't know, left field, if you like. I wouldn't like to say that we are corporate. We're not. We tend to all... I've got the top half with my pearls on. Yeah. The bottom half has my black shorts.
I did wonder where you were going with this.
So that's about how we are. So black shorts seems to be de rigueur. That's our company culture, really.
So corporate, chill.
Yeah, you got it. Absolutely.
And for me and you have already had a good banter and a chat before the call, so I assume there's a little bit of banter and a bit of jovialness going on in there as well.
Joviality. Maybe that's the word.
Is that a real word?
I think it is.
I like it. I'm using it. I'm going to try and fit that into my next conversation.
Okay, you do that.
So, as the group, as VKN, do you guys work in any particular industry or niche?
Well, I would like to say yes, but whenever I say yes, something else comes along. So we have a huge variety. We sometimes have periods of fintech and cybersecurity, cryptocurrencies, that kind of thing we kind of work with. We've had a lot of startup businesses working with us, and they have ranged from drones service, and they're all highly qualified and going for it. That has been exciting, and we've just picked up a new client today that is working on sports consultancy.
Wow.
So we do websites for all kinds of people. Somebody who's delivering a new rental experience for people who find themselves in a position of having to share a house. Yeah. And it's not, they don't want the typical student share with fungus in the fridge. They want something really top quality.
You know, it's a little stereotypical, but you're right.
Yeah. Well, I thought everyone could quickly form a picture of that. Not take too much time. So we're also involved with a very good company now who have really come on, called No Agent, who are offering the rental experience at a fraction of the cost of normal bricks and mortar agencies. So we do quite a lot in property. I wouldn't have said that was one of our niches, but apparently it is. We work with chartered surveyors, all sorts of things. However, we do work with poets and artists, counsellors, and coaches.
I can't even try and string that into a short sentence. I was epic. You work with a lot of people, but it sounds like for you guys that variety is the spice of life.
Yeah,
and you're really enjoying working with all these different types of business. I think the commonality is, though, I imagine the commonality is that you're able to provide them quite a broader service and kind of hold their hands through a lot of things. So I assume that might be why they come to you.
Web service design, sometimes you do that and people just want a list of things you want, they want to deliver it and then hand it back to you, say right, it's done. Ours is very much kind of bespoke, and you would say, oh, I'm not quite sure whether I to add this, what do you think, I'm looking for some copy, not quite sure about the design here, can you find any images for me? So it's quite hands-on, really.
So you are like the extended marketing department for lots of different types of businesses.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Yeah.
So all right, you can have that one for free if you haven't already been using it.
Thank you.
All right, I think we've kind of already alluded to this, but I'll ask the question anyway, just in case it's something else. But what do you feel the main problem is that your agency solves for your clients?
Well, yes, that one-stop solution, because actually, we have so much choice. And if you look at it, curation actually is such a buzzword. And, you know, a lot of people make a lot of money through curating content for other people.
Yeah.
And so they say, right, we've done the hard work for you. And this week, have a look at the world through my lens. And it'll save you lots of time so you don't have to go trawling for it. So there's a lot of that. And people want time-saving ideas. So if they find somebody that can solve 6 or 7 problems for them and they trust them and they do a good job, then you're on to a winner, I think.
Amen. Preach. I'm with hallelujah. I should remind me, I need to send you my favorite GIF on that one. There's a really good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. We use a lot of GIFs in client emails. It seems to work great. I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
Well, let's talk about marketing then. And how are you generating? I mean, you work with a lot of people, so how are you generating these leads?
I have to say that in the old-fashioned way, there is a lot of word of mouth.
Okay.
My latest client that dropped in the inbox today is a recommendation from somebody whose website we've just finished.
Brilliant.
So that's always fantastic. And I think, you know, if you can really create goodwill amongst your client base, that's always fantastic. We do network, and I'm the one that gets pushed out to do that, which is
all those breakfasts you have to eat.
I know, but it's very time consuming. And sometimes I think the return on time investment is not quite what it should be, but maybe that's because I do it badly, who knows. But I've tried all kinds of networking, from the very super formal to the incredibly informal and all points in between. But
weirdly enough, I found the most successful to be the informal one, because I was even in a BNI, and that was like insanely stressful and fun and great all at the same time. But
yes, I wasn't going to mention that.
Yeah,
I too was with them.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yes, I was with them, and I definitely think I've made way more leads out of the informal, chilled out one, because there is no pressure. There's no, not to badmouth BNI, because some chapters are absolutely amazing, but unfortunately in some chapters as well, there's not really everyone's pulling their weight. And if not everyone's pulling their weight, then it doesn't necessarily work. Whereas the informal one, things just happen naturally through being friends. So I found that worked best for me anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to give a plug. Not that I'm getting anything for this, but there's a brand new one in Yorkshire called Square Peg.
Square Peg.
Yeah, and that ends up being a almost like a social media platform as well, where you can work online and also kind of offline when you go to your meetings, and they are very uplifting and excellent. I've only been to one, and I reviewed it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I thought it was worth watching for, and I think they're spreading out. The idea would be to go across the country, I think, in the long term.
Awesome. So. Hey up, you Yorkshire people, go check out Square Peg. It sounds wicked.
Hey up.
Hey up. Right then. This question might be quite deep, or it might not. I don't know.
Okay.
But how do you measure success?
Let me think about that.
Well, if it helps, you could either think of how do you collectively as an agency measure success, or you could take it as to how do you measure success. It could be on a personal scale.
If speaking to each other at the end of the week, then it's been a successful week.
Brilliant. Yeah. So you've not all killed each other. That's good. That's definitely...
That's definitely it. I suppose we do the boring things like measuring any kind of inbound marketing success.
Mm-hmm.
And also I run quite a tight LinkedIn ship, and I suppose conversions to be the boring thing. But you know, I suppose measuring success, there is that kind of touchy feeling thing that if you're still enjoying what you're doing and still have that kind of real interest, and I don't want to use the passion because everybody says I'm passionate about, and that's been a bit overused, but if you still have enthusiasm for what you do and can kind of really communicate that to everybody who you're talking to, then I think that is a measure of success, because it's a mental and a visceral thing, this game, and contemporary marketing takes a lot out of you, and if you're still standing at the end of the week, then you've done really well. And if you've got a smile, hell, that's brilliant. Yeah.
So not killing each other and essentially enjoying what you do. Not passionate, enjoying it. It sounds cheesy, but I do say to a lot of people, I'm always not pushing people, but encouraging people to look at what they're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, then, you know, have another think about what it is that you're doing. What can you change so that you can love it? Or are you just in the wrong industry? So that's the conversation I had to have with myself. All right. We're now into confession time. So it's just me and you and a few thousand listeners. So don't worry about those guys. What is the biggest problem you feel you have as an agency?
Did you say we've only got half an hour?
Oh, crumbs. No, I didn't say that at all. Depends how long this monologue is and how entertaining it is. I could sit here all afternoon.
I think the biggest problem, and I don't think it's just us, is scaling.
Yes.
And we have all been encouraged by the development of AI and technology in general to think that we can create a business. And it is quite easy if you've got a laptop and you get yourself a website and a couple of business cards and you're there in a way. If you've got an idea, you can make a start. But actually trying to scale that business, and that means taking on staff, taking on premises, actually managing it with sort of bookkeepers and accountants, and thinking about, VAT registering and all those kinds of things. And then also sort of thinking about, staff management, outreach, being able to fulfill what you promise, because, obviously juggling more and more things. I mean, we have to have those plate spinning skills. And sometimes I really, really am stretched from stretching that side to getting to the other one right at the other end, and it takes a huge amount of organisation. So I think for me, and there's not enough support, not enough funding, et cetera, for those businesses who need to move on to the next level. So if I said anything, if somebody said, right, you've got to kind of confess this now, right now, immediately, it would be, I need help scaling. Okay.
And I admire your honesty. A lot of us, a lot of agencies wouldn't admit to that, but it's something that a lot of us do struggle with. It's because a lot of the time it feels like we're doing, time for money, etc. And it's really you have to do more to get more money in, but that also then means you have to get more resources in. So things have to change, and it's definitely a growing pain, I think, for a lot of us agencies trying to work out that middle ground, and we're all going on the same journey. So you're in a great group here with Agency Trailblazers, because there are people within Agency Trailblazer community who've kind of gone beyond that now, and they're blazing a trail, as it were. And then there's a lot of us as well who are kind of in that middle ground trying to work out, okay, how do we get to that next level? And I think it's hard. I don't think there is an answer necessarily. No. I think you have to kind of keep unpacking that answer, don't you, and working it out, but you will get there. Yeah, because I already know you're a legend.
Oh, well, there. Lunchtime. Yes, 15 minutes. I think that collaboration has an awful lot to recommend it. And I think if you can really tightly sort out who you want to collaborate with, I think that is a good solution, and that's what we're looking for all the time. Really, we've always got our eyes open for people we can work with.
I think you might be getting a few emails at the end of the day. there's a few listeners I know would probably want to collaborate, and there's some great people in the community.
That's brilliant.
Well, let's switch gears away from business for a little while, and I'd love to talk about well-being. I've confessed this in pretty much every episode, that this is the bit that I really struggle with as an agency owner, which is being healthy, that's mentally and physically. So the first question would be, how do you personally switch off? Because you've already confessed that, sometimes you may feel a bit stressed or a bit stretched. Do you have any ways, tips of switching off so you can just chill your mind out for a bit?
Well, in this book I'm writing, yesterday, I wrote a chapter called Nurturing Your Creativity.
Okay.
So I only say that, not as a plug, but because it's on my mind.
It's okay. I want to read the book.
And I have a very small writing space that is big enough to have 2 pieces of old scaffold board nailed together and put on the wall, and a small stool, some shelves on this side, and enough space behind me to put a small chair. It's got one window in front. It looks out in the garden, and it used to be the coal shed. Cool. Right. And I go in there every single morning, usually about 5 in the morning, because that's when I wake up. Okay. And I freehand write. and there's no tech allowed in that room, not allowed to eat anything in that room. It's almost like a monastic cell. And I go in there and I write the equivalent of my morning pages and then come away from it. And that clears your head of all the niggles and gripes, oh, no, I've got an interview this afternoon. Oh, for goodness sake, I haven't done this. Or I've got a headache. Or, oh, today I need to kind of, go to the post office, whatever. You get all that out, down, whinge, moan, groan, whatever you. And then what happens is you clear space. And your head opens up, and the book, I actually wrote the 17 chapter headings that morning. And when I walked into that office or space, I didn't know that book was in my head.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
Create before you consume, I was told many years ago by some guy that I can't remember the name of. But having that morning of creativity, i.e., like you said, clearing your head, but it's also you're clearing up space to be creative. And you've written the flat plan for a book. That's amazing.
Yeah, and
great advice.
It does really work hard, and bearing in mind that as in the kind of industry we're in, we are supposed to be creative. We're supposed to be a font of ideas, and for too many of us, we keep taking water from the well and never replenishing it. And in the end, you will put the bucket down there, and it will come on the bottom. Yeah. You'll say, "Where did everything go?" And this morning I couldn't do it, and this is the first time for, I would say, 6 weeks, because I had something else that I had to do. And this morning my head's been all over the place because I was being very reactive rather than being proactive. I'll shut up now.
No, it's good. I just, because we're definitely going off subject, but it's fine. But what you were saying was, what I like about what you're saying as well is, I think because we are creatives, but we don't exercise that creativity, we can also fall into a trap of allowing our customers to tell us what they want. And therefore we then just start to become robots, just doing what people need us to do without us actually thinking outside of the box and being creative and making the relevant recommendations to our client. So cool. I knew that was going to be a deep one, but let's get on to the next one, which I definitely struggle with because I have zero motivation for this at the moment. And it's, how do you stay healthy? Or do you? I don't know.
Well, I would say that this morning I went to the GP.
Okay. That's always a good place.
She said, you need to get shot of the visceral fat around the middle. Oh. I said, marvellous. So she said, what you need is more exercise. And I said, look, I just don't need this because it's something else to do. Now, any exercise head that's listening to this will say, that is just an excuse, because if it's important, you'll find the time. But I guess that if we do make the effort to go out running or walking or doing whatever we think is right for us, swimming, that actually that does clear us headspace to do the creative thinking that we need to do. So maybe we can still multitask by going out swimming, running, walking, and then clearing our heads to think the kind of thoughts that we want to have. But like you, I am really struggling with looking after myself in that respect. And, we all spend a huge amount of time sitting, and it scares me when people keep saying sitting is the new smoking.
I've not heard that, and that now scares me. I feel like I should now get my standing desk and go and stand at that and do the rest of this interview.
I think the standing desk should be an absolute, and we're talking about getting some.
No, that's a great idea. We've got standing desks in the office, and I don't use it enough, actually. So now that you've said sitting is the new smoking, I think I'll be standing a lot more. So, right, we're coming into land. We've got our last question. Okay. I can imagine everyone listening to the podcast suddenly all standing up and kind of jogging on the spot. So well done. You've given us all a fire under our belly. But anyway, last question is all about a industry tool, or it doesn't have to be an industry tool, but a tool, it could be software or whatever, that you guys use that you feel has been instrumental in your success so far, and why?
I don't know if I can necessarily say there's one thing that has changed our lives. But we are fairly recent converts to using Asana and Trello and all those things that we've all avoided. That has made us feel much tighter as an organization. And it's dead easy. I still keep, look, I'm going to show you. I still keep a blackened
Yay!
book. Yeah,
So do I.
Yeah,
It's cool.
the way I've been doing this for years and years. And so you could say to me, what were you doing in 2009 on the 1st of August? I'll say, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Well, I can still do that. And I like the fact it's there. I don't have to
Yeah.
switch anything on. I don't have to worry about something downloading or not getting a Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah.
But I think some of those management things makes you think about your planning. And going back to that issue of scaling, that is really, really important.
Yeah.
So, there are loads of things, but, because you put me on the spot,
I think you've put the right one. Asana, especially, we use it internally as well. We've got the upgraded version so that we've got templates for different types of projects that we have, etc. We can spark up a new project really quickly. But that is absolutely what drives all of our tasks. And although I still have the task list with the tick box and priority numbers that I still use every day, everything that's on there is also on Asana. It's just that sometimes, because like you, some of the stuff that I do, especially the creative stuff, I don't need a computer for, or at least I don't need the internet for. So I do like to have the physical piece of paper, and I love putting a line through it when I've done it, because ticking a box on Asana is nowhere near as satisfying as just going with a line. Yeah. So.
And then of course my iPad, because I've got. Oh, hang on a minute. I've got my pen.
Yeah.
And I draw and
brilliant
with it, and that is a great tool. So if you're going to do a doodle, let's do one that's kind of worth keeping.
Let's do a digital doodle.
Yeah, digital doodle. Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. I knew it would be. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you for asking me. I've been delighted to take part. And if I can help you at all with anything, just give me a shout.
Awesome. So, folks, don't forget to connect if you are interested with regards to the program you were talking about earlier. We'll make sure we get everything in the show notes. Be sure to check out the website. Be sure to connect. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And you too.
Cheerio.
Bye.